I'm surprised to find myself here. Really surprised. At a speech contest? It just doesn't even seem like me. I've always been timid. I've always avoided confrontation, avoided competition. I was always afraid. I was a chicken. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and our welcome guests, I grew up in Texas. In Texas, it was all about football. All anybody seemed to care about was football. Even down at my elementary school level, all the boys were expected to try out for football. But I didn't want to play football. It's not what you think. It's not because I was afraid of getting hit. Okay, it is what you think. I was afraid of getting hit. I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid I wasn't going to be any good. I was afraid I would embarrass myself. I was just afraid. And my elementary school coach, he wouldn't let it go. He kept trying to get me to play over and over. Son, you gotta play football. Now get you a helmet and some pads and get on out there with the other boys. No. No, what do you mean no? No, sir? I was just a chicken, and I kind of learned to live with it. Life went on. But recently there's been a change. When I hit my late 50s, suddenly I wasn't as afraid anymore. You've heard of old guys who start wearing whatever they want, doing whatever they feel like, just speaking their mind because they don't care what anybody thinks anymore. I think that's happening to me. Take Toastmasters, for example. I never wanted to play football, but I'd always liked the idea of Toastmasters. Always wanted to get up and give speeches, but year after year, I never did it, never did it. And then suddenly, I wasn't as afraid anymore, and I joined. I used to have this old habit of going over and over things in my mind before I would say anything. Over and over. Is it going to embarrass me? Is it going to make anybody mad? Is it? And then now I find I'm still doing the same thing. But here, that actually works. I used to call that brooding and obsessing. Now, I call it writing and rehearsing. This old guy courage, it came as a real surprise to me. Because I'd been thinking that, getting older was just a bummer. All I'd noticed so far was changes in my physical body. Surprising and, frankly, disappointing changes. But here was a good thing. Old guy courage. I could do some things I'd always wanted to do before. So for anybody out here, anybody in the audience who is 50 or over, or maybe some of the rest of you who think you might just accidentally end up being 50 at some time, this is good news. You can do something you always wanted to do. You always wanted to spend 6 months in the south of France learning to make goat cheese. Now you can. You always wanted to take up skydiving. This is an opportunity. Maybe you always wanted to wear a cape and fight crime. Now you can. Of course, there are going to be some adjustments, but most of these adjustments are going to be by your families and your friends. They're going to have to learn to put up with you. What is the deal with Steve? I know we can't do a thing with him. He just does whatever he wants now. Oh well, what are you going to do? He's old. That's right. I'm old, and I'm doing what I want to do. I'm up here on stage, and I like it. Getting older has some downsides and some upsides. The downsides, I guess I'm going to learn more about that as I get older. But the upside, and my favorite so far, is my new old guy courage.